Okay, so just a couple notes really quick, just a few things. Am I recording this? All right. So, first thing is first. Why do I have the poppy on? Veterans Day. And when I was a kid growing up, everyone wore a poppy. If you go to any country in the basically in the British Commonwealth, they wear it for they wear it for the entire month. In France, for example, they wear a little tricolor, red, white, and blue tricolor, French flag. But it's to remember what event? Why November 11th? Armistice Day for what war? Yeah, World War I ended on the 11th hour of the 11th day, the 11th month. And so it was originally called Armistice Day. And the hope was that World War I would be the war to end all wars. Yeah, unfortunately, that's why there's a 1 to it, because there would be a 2 in many other wars, which we'll talk about. We'll talk about some of them, obviously, but, and why a poppy? It's kind of this generic shape, but this nice, pretty little flower. Why that? Cover what? Not quite that, even though that's I've heard too. It's a little bit more just basic, even though there's something to that. Okay, poppies will grow very quickly in freshly churned soil, especially in northwestern Europe. Fresh churned soil. And so when people died, soldiers were killed in World War I. In World War I, they quickly put them in a burlap sack, both sides, Eastern and Western fronts, as quickly as they could, put them in a burlap bag and buried them as quickly as possible. Churned up soil, freshly dug graves. And so what would happen is almost immediately they'd be covered with poppies. So that surreal image of really pretty white, pink, red flowers. Poppies are really pretty flowers. And so that was where they could tell the graves were. After the war, they reinterred the bodies. And so they put tags on the bodies they could identify. They could identify about 1 out of every set of bodies. And that little tag on them, and they buried them. So you go to the formal cemeteries there. And so that's what happened out to war. My great uncle is buried at St. Mihiel, which is just south of Verdun. He died there in September or August of 1918. And yeah. Nope, we're going to do notes now, so you can't read the chart. So I'm sorry what I was telling you did not entertain you. But Captain John McCrae would write a book called In Flanders Field, which would really popularize this. And the reason this was important is because he was captain in the Canadian Army. He was an artillery unit, but he was a surgeon. He found the body of his best friend. And artillery does not leave nice little bodies. It left a pile of meat. And he shaped the burlap bag and put the body in, shaped it in the shape of a body. And just took the pieces of various from it. And would write a poem called In Flanders Field. And in Flanders Field, he said, when Flanders Field, with poppies grow upon ground. Poppies over the graves. So that was for his friend. And McCrae would die in 1980. The poem would be published when he would die. So let's go ahead then and quickly do some notes. When I was a kid, everyone wore poppies. I'm so sad that tradition is gone here. And people forget. I should add, I like football. I watch football games, and they have all the teams come out there with camouflage uniform, camouflage outfits, which are I always find very ugly. And that's how they can act like they care, and then they forget it's quickly. It's disgusting. But that's my commentary. And so moving on, but I don't think I'm wrong. Let's go ahead then and talk a little bit about manifest destiny. Did I show you the donkey, by the way? So let's do that very quickly. Why isn't this working? Oh, God. So when they did this, So, you know, the donkeys for the Democratic Party, and sorry, if I turn my screen off. And then you have to go through this whole entire procedure to get the screen back on. So I didn't show you this. So this is the cartoon about the bank law. And this is where the donkey became the symbol of the Democratic Party. So what they did is there's a lot more Whig cartoonists, because the Whigs have to control the papers. They're the more the capitalist. Papers are generally kind of pro-capitalist or pro-money to this day. But here, this is supposed to represent the different states. You might see the little words on most of the states. And here, it's supposed to be pro-US Bank. And here is Biddle as the rooster trying to protect the chicks, the states. It says US Bank on it. But here's Jackson because it's attacking his pet banks and he's stomping on them like a jackass, the animal. And though they used to like to draw really creepy faces on animals, really creepy. So that, here comes Martin Van Buren as the fox about ready to get the rooster. That's supposed to be William Henry Harrison as a potential help, but do something. And so there's going to be all these pictures after this of the Democrats as a jackass, you know, about like doing something. And the Democrats took that as, wait a second, who has these type of animals, especially like a jackass or a donkey, working animal? They're mocking common people. That's the kind of animals they have to do their work on a farm. And so they adopted that as, yeah, we'll take that. You mock us because we work for a living. And so they adopted the donkey. Yes.
So if the donkey was kind of used to like mock them, how did they use an elephant to mock?
We're not too Democrat. There's no Republican Party, modern Republican Party yet. We will get to it though. I'll show you the cartoon that came from too. So good question, we'll come to it. We're coming. So we'll start with the donkey first. It's a wartime thing, yeah. Yeah. There were what? No, that's good. Good guess. We'll get to it though. But you have to see it in context because of what's happening during the war. So then let's go ahead then and get to these cartoons. I like them. I don't know what's going on. So manifest destiny. I don't know what I'm going to do. All right, manifest destiny, or westward we go. This is a painting called Westward We Go. And what's manifest destiny? That is this almost ordained. So many ways they would look at it as ordained by God for the United States to expand westward. It is our duty. It is our mission. Remember, after the Battle of Tippecanoe in the War of 1812, what did citizens of the United States start calling themselves? Americans. And what it meant is we're going to become a continental nation. What does continental mean? Across the entire continent or sea to sea, Atlantic to Pacific. It's our continent. We have been ordained to move westward. So if you look at this painting, this is one of the most famous pro-manifest destiny paintings, literally called Westward We Go. You know, it's in the background. I have this here. And it's trying to show the expansion of, okay, there are three big reasons why manifest destiny overtook. And the first one is this idea of spreading American civilization. And this painting shows it quite well. Spreading of American civilization. Now, what it is this. Here is Lady Columbia. And you notice she is moving in, she's moving into the darkness of the uncivilized West. And yes, this is intensely prejudiced, racist. Look who's fleeing. American Indians, uncivilized savages, and here comes the civilization. It's kind of shocking how blunt it is, but it masks this with, here comes civilization in the light, moving. Who's first? The trappers, miners, see the pickaxe, and then farmers, still in the gray, but what's following the civilization? A little more advanced carriages, and then the railroads. Cities, progress. And what is she carrying? The telegraph line. the telegraph line. So with that, trade. And yes, she does have the some people observe it as the Bible, but it's not it's the Constitution. And so with that, trade. They want to expand trade into these areas, and the big thing about that one was the China trade was just going. Britain, United States help, had just forcibly opened up the Chinese market for extreme exploitation. You might have heard of these wars, called the Opium Wars. Yes, partially to get them to buy an addictive drug, but this forced open the China market, and countries are just pouring in, just gouging China. Oh, they have not forgotten. They talk about that every day in their schools. Look what they did. Maybe it's our turn. But open up trade. And lastly, land. We can't forget that. And there's that element of this American dream, especially for people who might be stuck in factories. No, I can go west and get my little piece of land and that original American dream, Jeffersonian America, a small independent farmer, which was becoming more and more difficult because of land costs here. But then don't forget diffusion. Diffusion was to spread out for more states, especially southern, allied to the south, to defend what? Slavery. Even if there's not going to be that many slaves in potential states here, it's 2 pro-slavery senators. Remember the Missouri Compromise. So diffusion. Westward we go. So the first citizens of the United States that came in large numbers to the American West were the so-called mountain men. And they're involved with the carriage trade. Carriage trade, what did rich people wear when they rode around in their carriages? Huh? Beaver, but beaver. But still a hat from something they would trap and trade. So the thing about beaver, they got a hard, thick fur on the outside. They would scrape off with this hard metal brush. And underneath is this really fine felt. That's how beaver can stay under the water in ice cold water and where their dams are. That would be for hats. So they'd be trapped. A lot of the mountain men would do it themselves, but the big thing they were trading. They traded with the various tribes who they killed the beaver. And you get this round thing that they would dry, ship back in bales, almost like hay or cotton. And then they would scrape it off and use that. And they killed almost all the beaver, which was an ecological nightmare, and not the fact that beavers are really cool, unless you don't want your tree eaten. But yeah, that's what it goes. But that's Joe Meeks, one of the most famous mountain men. And so they sold this. I should add that Montana had one of the most important forts of this, Fort Union. It's right on the edge where the Yellowstone River runs into the Missouri, Fort Union. Now, hey, why are you on your phone? Second time I've told you that. Not again. Not again. I don't want phones. Yellowstone runs in the Missouri. It's right here. They whitewash it so you can see it for miles. If you go there today, it's pretty amazing. It's really cool. I would highly recommend it. It's actually really pretty country there, just different style. But one thing, literally, this is a picture. So I took this, the road kind of winds like this in there, and it's, you kind of walk into like you're coming into 1840. It's really cool. But right here are those Hammerhead oil wells. It's right next to it. I should add, most of the oil production they stopped when oil prices dropped. Where they frack, it's so expensive that they just kind of quit producing. Part of the reason why oil prices went up, even though they appear to be stabilizing. But in 1840, the carriage trade just ended, like literally overnight. Boom, gone. Why? They decided they wanted silk hats, like overnight. Why is that a big deal? It totally changed the dynamic of trade. Remember the fur trade? They no longer have something we want, but also save the beaver. They would have killed everyone. I know what a lot of you are thinking. I'm kind of hungry, so I'm going to show you what I made for myself for lunch. You want to see it? You want to see it? Yeah, doesn't that look good? Taco shells, Slim Jims, Cheese whiz.
Congratulations, you have invented.
Isn't that awesome?
Yes, you have diabetes in the palm of your
I
hand.
didn't say you don't have to worry about diabetes, because you'd be long gone for the diabetes. Could that be the most wonderful thing ever invented? Yeah, that's spray cheese. That's what I eat every day.
That looks like.
That's why I stay fit. Okay, the funny thing about this is somebody took the time of actually making this and taking a picture. And then someone else took the time of showing it to everybody else. That's me. Who here, okay, I've had Slim Jims before.
Okay, yeah. Like, with the cheese.
I've not had a Slim Jim in almost 40 years.
That's so great.
But Slim Jims do, that has all your major food groups, fat and salt. Isn't it wonderful? Have a good day, everybody.
Have a great weekend.
I think I will.
Well, that's good too, you.
Breaking communications. It's like anytime you should text me.
There's something you need to, well, she should know better.
She could see how.
She's very intelligent. She should know better, right?
Right.
So you should know you're in class. And if there's something you need to know, let me know, but don't give me that position. Yeah, that may be big. And also consider doing something. I'm working. But you should tell me, I'm in class now, somebody else would. But, okay, not a huge deal, but not again, okay? So. I think Wednesday?
Yeah.
Wednesday.
I know, it feels so far away and I'm bad.
Don't,
I know.
we'll make it do, we'll make it work. I'm just worried that. Yeah, I think it's good. I have no problem. I'm just worried every day, so come in and get it done. Remind me fifth grade.
Okay.
Well, who we got for site?
I'm-
Yeah, very good.
yeah.
So if you have any questions, I'm in my Western Civ class, so we're talking. That's a shame.
So,
We're not to the play. We're coming to play. It's test day, everybody. Why are you money?
you can
Oh,
have yourself
too. I want to help you. It's a fundraiser.
well.
So, yeah, you can. But you can hold on, you can't have it. Just don't look at it.
Well, they were like, nice and snacks.
Yeah. But I'll get out of the packet.
Oh, wait.
But I did put it on Teams, didn't I? I hope I did. As soon as you're done, pick it up. And it's, I don't think a big, but it's a bunch of stuff all the way through reconstruction, so it'll just be on it. And I'll show it to you when you're done with the test, everyone's gonna be on Monday, Tuesday, I'll put the test.
So, I'm going to know, so somebody, that's on the first thing. I don't know, it's not in my notes, but I would call the stuff that was on YouTube, so you base that first.
I'm gonna take that. Tell me if you wanna take it. Let me
I'll
look.
also take it. I just.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
I'm like very much sure.
No, I believe you about that. Are you sure you want to take it?
Oh, yeah, no, I'll go for it, it's fine.
But thank you for telling me. Let me look.
Yeah, no, here, I'll pull it up on my thing.
Now, let's see if we get the same stuff. Maybe mine shows up differently.
Yeah, little me. For a second.
Where are the videos?
There's one from Friday, and that was the one I did, but I just talked about us doing some other activity on like YouTube or something when I was there. I just assumed there wasn't anything else, but I didn't see videos going, so I just didn't know.
So, like, yeah.
Put it on. See.
Like,
Wait, let me see what you have.
Yeah. That was.
This is right here, 7, 8, 9. I'm all for it. Oh, and it's there. But the very here, you can make it. 17 else.
And then why or whatever you want. Whatever I want to do. And then many management support. See, you have classes and shit.